Um, having the ability to tattoo and do it well, like no matter how much you hate it. I mean, if you hate it, like no matter that, it's like that's a good one to have in your back pocket. Like, yeah, there's not many people that have that.
It's good and it's bad. It's good
Yeah,
because you can everyone, no matter what. I think if it was, the end times, which it very well could be,
yeah, no shit,
people
huh?
will always want. Oh yeah, but people always want to get tattooed. They always want to get drunk. They always want to get tattooed. They always want to get laid. No matter what
Yeah,
happens to society, the three things that you can always count on. I don't know why.
yeah,
Um, but the issue for me is being rural, and
mm-hmm.
then tattooing is like a city job,
Yeah,
truthfully. So you're gonna have to commute a lot, so I've got to like zip around and just schlep my shit over here, schlep it over there, and so it gets exhausting. Whereas like you have friends that are leather workers or whatever, and they can work right at the old
yeah.
rancho, and they don't have to leave. So they sort of have a little bit. They have a little bit better thing going on.
Well, what if you hmm. Well, I guess being in the tattoo business, you can't just set up shop anywhere, and I mean you can physically, but like there's a lot of laws and shit that are involved there. So
Yeah, I mean, it, you know, laws are just kind of like, I've been
yeah, well,
tattooing.
yeah, no, I think we're very very much on the same page on that end. But I'm just thinking from like a sheer pain in the ass standpoint. Like
Yeah,
if you wanted to be where like this is my shop. My shop is wherever the fuck my trailer is. You know, like you could put like a 11 quarters trailer with the tattoo shop. But like how many like realistically without having to worry about just either like to be legal or or you slip cash under the table. But like, sometimes that ain't gonna work. So like is that even like feasible realistically?
yeah, it completely is. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I've tattooed for 18 years. I don't, if someone's like, "Do you have a license?" I'm like, "Fuck is a license?" Like, I don't need, I don't need a fucking license.
Yeah.
I've worked in all kinds of shops, all kinds of places. I've tattooed farriers and barns. But the thing is, it's just what you make it. It's an outlaw job, and what it's
Yeah.
become now is like this sort of reflection of modern society where everything's like PC and woke and like tattoos are therapy and
And
whatever like
superficial and all that bullshit. Yeah.
right. And I got tattooed a lot because I was just a horribly angry, hostile kid, and I was
Yeah.
hanging out with older guys. They had like, lots of tattoos. Obviously, they were tattooers. They had cool trucks, cool, all this cool shit. And they're like, "Oh, I want that for me." Like
Yeah.
I want to listen to whatever I want to listen to all day, and then just like tattoo. Like, how cool! It was very different. But now I guess for me, um, it's I never wanted to appeal, and this sounds whatever, but take it as you will. I don't want to appeal to like normies. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
if it's like, oh, like that guy's kind of weird, or like what a strange place to get tattooed, like blah blah. Well, that's fine. I don't want your business. I don't want you. We're clearly not on the same level.
Yeah.
You got a little element of danger to tattooing. That's what it was all about. I mean, I remember going and getting my first tattoo. You know, my heart was like about to jump out of my throat. Terrifying experience. And now you ask someone, "Oh, who did your first tattoo?" I don't know. I mean, I can tell you the guy's name. I can tell you the way the shop smelled. I can tell you. I mean, it was awesome, but also
Yeah.
like very intimidating experience. So some of the 90% of the magic in tattooing is gone. That kind of outlaw sort of danger, fringe society shit. And you know,
Yeah.
it leaving allowed dorks like me to enter it because it left the biker aspect. So, you know, like kind of like those like me, just kind of like, I'm kind of like, just, you know, you know,
Yeah.
like, I'm not like some tough.
Yeah.
But it opened the door for people like me to tattoo. You know, that's one's opinion.
Yeah.
You know? But here I am.
Well, you know, I just like the more I grow up and the more shit that I do and the more people I talk to, like the more I realize I have way more of an artist brain. But like I've got that like semi-autistic deal going on where like I'm hyper focused on one thing, but I kind of neglect the rest of the world, and I think a lot of like artists are kind of like that too. And but that being said, like I can't draw for shit. I can kind of somewhat play guitar, and but I can spin the hell out of a dick joke. You know, like I'm pretty good at just coming up with a dick joke. You know, for
You're
about any occasion.
Yeah, you got to, you know, wordsmithing is an art form, no doubt.
Yeah, and you know, it's just. But I can see, I feel like we're on kind of parallel universes here, because I feel the same way about tattooing as comedy. Like stand up comedy is very much a city gig, like
Yeah.
Outside of the like Foxworthy and Rodney Carrington, I don't know if there's any other like really big country country comedians, and I'm leaving Ron White and Larry the Cable Guy and Bill Engvall out of that equation, because I don't think Ron White was country, but he left the country as fast as he fucking could, and Larry the Cable Guy's always been a city kid, just with an alter ego. Bill Engvall, he's like known as kind of a city guy wanting to be country, and Foxworthy's a sure enough redneck, and Carrington is a sure enough just like drunk cowboy from Oklahoma. Like maybe not a good cowboy, but he's a drunk cowboy from Oklahoma. And but I like outside of those two, I can't think of like any like really, you know, like rural like comedians that have made it big. And I've been thinking about trying to try some, and I'm just like, God damn, man, I should have started 15 years ago, because I live hour and a half, 2 hours from Reno, and that's probably the closest open mic. And so now, like, I got a wife and 2 kids. I can't do anything like that. Like, I can't drive to Reno and hit open mics during the week, and still get back and ride pins and be fucking productive next day. So now I'm trying to figure out how to make this podcast somewhat successful so that I can go practice stand up every now and then when I get a gig, and then maybe sometime, you know, be able to like kind of hit the road here and there and make some kind of somewhat, you know, decent money at it. But you know, you can't get good at it unless you're like practicing at it, and I don't know. It's and I ain't moving to the city, so fuck all that.
Like, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing too, and it's like you said, trying to balance between, you know, anytime you've got livestock responsibility, you know, you don't have a lot of time. I mean, I've been at it every day this week, you know, from sun up till past sundown. I mean, we just wrapped up a day a few minutes ago, and I just walked in there. You know, I could be painting or drawing or reading a book, but you know, it's like there's just not that much time. You have greater responsibilities, so you know, it's sort of like the artistic, what I call it. Truthfully, it takes a back burner. You know, I mean, I tattoo one day a week. not even every day, or not, you know what I'm saying, not even every allotted one day of the week. Usually I tattoo Saturday. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. I mean, and even then I feel guilty. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't do it. You know, I shouldn't leave and go. But so that's the thing. I mean, I totally get it. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
You know, but kind of a segue in what you're saying, sort of like rural lifestyle versus city comedy or city, you know, whatever you want to call it. It's like, I mean, that's the problem, you know. Like, had I never gone to a friend's house that had cable, I never would have realized, I never would have probably yearned for the city, you know, or whatever bullshit the city had to offer. But I did. It polluted my little brain, and the next thing I know, you know, like, you're living in the city, you know, it's like you're getting fucking trashed every night, and you know, it's just, it's strange, you know. If you had not been exposed to the things that were being piped into your friend's home via their television, you would, you know, who knows? Yeah, who knows what path you would have taken, or maybe comedy wouldn't be your thing, you know? Maybe tattooing wouldn't be I mean, would we be better off without either one of those? Maybe not. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah. It's you don't know. It's kind of crazy. But like we were talking before we started recording, and you'd mentioned it before when we were texting, but you like, you're really good at what you do, but like it's not your, like you said, it's back burner, not your ultimate passion, and you called it said just stripper money. And I think that's a pretty awesome way to put something like that.
It's true, for sure. I mean, the thing is, you know, to get good at tattooing or you know, painting or whatever, you obviously dedicate a lot of your time to it. And I did. I literally trapped myself inside for years and did nothing but practice, study, paint, blah 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 blah. And that's what I did. I was obsessed. But you know, a 24-year-old kid is, you know, living out the dream of a 16 or 15-year-old kid. You know, like, man, that 15 or 16-year-old kid would be proud of me right now. Well, then you get a little older and you're like, I'm kind of bummed on that 24-year-old kid that was doing that, you know, like, or even his behavior in general sucked. And then you get a little older on that, and you're like, and then you realize, I don't know, like, you just realize, like, you really need to do what your calling is. You need to do what your passion is, whatever it is, you know. So you start getting back to the stuff that you kind of grew up doing or whatever. But it makes more sense when you're older, or at least it did for me. I was able to focus, take things more seriously, and balance responsibilities. You know, I'm able to, you know, I got to a certain level of tattooing. That's awesome. I clearly don't want to get below that level. But am I satisfied with what my tattoos look like now? Yes, actually more so than what they did when I was like, you know, Bailey Hunter Robinson or whoever the fuck that douchebag was. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, I'm more satisfied with what, you know, when I tattoo someone now, I'm like, hey, I like that a lot better. You cut down the frosting on the cake the older you get. With, I think, a lot of things. So, you know, I don't need every trick in the book in a tattoo. Sometimes tattoo just needs to be exactly what you want. You want a cow skull? Well, hey, maybe that's exactly what you want. And that's where you don't need 8 colors, a fucking feather, a star, you know, anything you need. That's powerful. That's more powerful by itself than all the frosting. If you know what I mean. It's almost like, if to talk about comedy, it'd be like the difference between, you know, fucking, I don't know, Andrew Dice Clay. You know, and, I don't know,
like
fucking,
like any late night host, you know, and
that but I like Andrew Dice Clay. You know, like, dinner. You're like,
hickory dickory dock. Like, he's the guy's what a What
Okay.
a funny motherfucker, man. He's yeah, it's
Insane. And that we live
yeah,
in today.
yeah.
Like,
It really is. It's like that's like why like I don't know if I even care so much for Rogan's comedy. Like I think he's pretty funny, but just the way he like once you're in and like he's talking to a guy like there's no pussyfooting around anything. Like they just go at it and they talk, and like that's like I wouldn't put him in even in my like top 15 as far as comedians go, but there's a reason why he's the number one podcast on earth. I mean, like that guy's good at what he does.
oh yeah. Oh, even like with Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is fucking
Yeah.
hilarious, but if you listen to actual interviews, he's brilliant. Like
Oh
he's able to
man.
engage. He's funny, but he's just dropping facts. He's dropping, he's dropping all this knowledge. And
Oh,
it's
and
awesome.
it makes his
You're just like, God,
comedy
how could
that
somebody?
much better after you hear something like that, and then you go back and watch some of those sketches from Chappelle's show and watch some of his old stand up after just listening to him talk for a while, and you're just like, fuck, that joke's even funnier than I thought it was.
Oh yeah.
And it like yeah, when you add those layers.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that. I think someone's like this thing. They're like just character, and they're crazy and they're funny, and they'll say anything. I mean, I'll generally say anything, especially if I think the people near me are gonna be made like uncomfortable. Like I might not even believe it, but I'll just talk about it, say it.
Oh,
Like,
I love the uncomfortable. I fucking thrive in the uncomfortable. I love it so much. And like
it's a tricky thing though. Like with tattooing though, now tattooing it's like so like a few years ago these tattooers tried to get me canceled, I guess, whatever you want to call it, like cancel culture.
yeah.
And they're like, well, he like picture on Instagram. Can you believe that? And I'm like, what? And so they're like, he like this picture on Instagram. He's awful, blah blah. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if you think that's bad, you should hang out and think my actual thoughts. Like if you knew what I really thought about things, you'd be mortified. But you can't cancel people that don't give a fuck. Like, where do you take away from me? And that's the beauty about never doing, never following the exact rules. So if you don't follow the exact rules, how are they going to cancel you? Like, oh, no one wants to get tattooed by me? That's okay. I'll just go fucking stay work. Oh, no one wants to get tattooed by me? That's okay. I'll just fucking ride Colts or whatever. There's always a backup.
Hell yeah.
So it doesn't really, you can't fuck with people that don't fucking care about that kind of bullshit, And so you have to be ungovernable. I mean, ridiculous, but you do. You have to be ungovernable at the drop of a hat. So, anyways.
Yeah, I think so. Hey, before we continue, you might kill your video. Your sound's coming across a little choppy and being dark and everything. Just kill the video, and I think it'll come through a little smoother.
Better?
Boom. Yeah. Yes, sir. I think so. But I love everything. Like I was trying to draw a comparison in my head to bring it back to cowboying because, like you said, tattooing was stripper money for you, and like I've just been visiting with you a little bit over text. Like you're you were riding colts, and that of course that leads into like whether it's rope horses or show horses, whatever that case may be. And then once you get in that world, that's a whole different deal, and that becomes more and more like the real world that we're living in. Just cutthroat, backstabbing, and just superficial as fuck. And at the same time, PC.
Oh yeah, I mean, for me the worst ever was working for certain
trainers and riding for them, you know, like cow horse trainers and whatnot. But then I also my one of my best friends is you know, top cow horse trainers, you know, and so it's, you know, whatever. It's different personalities, different people, but I never really wanted or had any interest in performance horse stuff, like at all. I just would be like, well, how come this person's horse does this and mine doesn't? How come that, you know, how come they're able to do that and mine can, or whatever. So then, you know, curiosity takes control, and next thing you know, you're, you know, living here, doing this, doing that. But you know, but I will say, I moved to Texas, which I know people are gonna be very offended by this. I fucking hate Texas. It's a hot, humid nightmare.
Yeah, fuck that humidity.
It's miserable, and people are like, I look pretty fucked up. Like, I mean, you can't see me because it's dark. I look better in the dark, much more handsome. But I mean, I'm pretty fucked up looking individual. I have lots of tattoos and I'm long hair. It just doesn't really meet the, you know, whatever, like standard or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But anyways, living there was real hard for me. I lived there for a year and some change. I got a chance to ride with a really awesome trainer there. Kind of just this older fella, old school guy, you know, like,
yeah.
He used to ride when he was a kid for John Burris,
Okay.
who was like the old folk musician, but also
Yeah.
like road horse trainer in general. So, you know, he's awesome. And so I definitely, that was a pretty pivotal point for me. I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about myself that I could really, and I usually I'm like, oh, this, you know, like, this is terrible, I can't handle the weather or whatever, and I split. But I was like, no, I'm fucking committed for at least this amount of time, and I sucked it up and I did it. You know, I lived in Texas for over a year, never met a friend, never made one single friend, nothing. Pretty weird.
No shit.
Yeah. And then anyways, yeah, you know, moved back to New Mexico for a bit, and that wasn't really that great. I think, you know, you and I discussed a few weeks ago the parallels of sort of tattooing and working for, you know, riding for a horse trainer, riding with a horse trainer. Kind of like the ownership that sometimes they can have, and then sometimes they don't. You know, like, I've tattooed for people and they are amazing, or with people, or whatever you want to call it, you know. And here's the key to the shop, here's this, here's that, come and go as you please, here's a proper percentage for you, you know, and you love them and they love you and you have a great relationship. But then there's those guys that think they can, like, mentally manipulate you and keep you under their thumb. And you've got the same thing, you know, the parallels like we discussed. So, you know, and I've had a lot of that too, where, I mean, I recently rode for a guy and he knew I showed up with 2 horses, and, you know, he got to get rid of this one horse. Why? We got rid of him, you know? And so I didn't have a choice. I didn't have anywhere else to go. So I was, you know, more or less forced to sell this little colt. So I did. But, you know, the thing is my buddy was like, oh, that's cool, you sold him. I'm like, yeah, it's whatever. But the thing is that it was a manipulation. It was a tactic. You know, it's like, well, I'm gonna show this guy kind of like who the boss is. But once again, you know, you have to give respect to get respect. And if you're not gonna respect me, then why would I respect you? If you're gonna try to govern me, you know, governable. So then the other day I just waited and decided. I woke up the other morning, or I don't know, whenever the fuck it was. It was a Saturday a while back. And I said, today I'm just going to leave. And I started packing and I just left, just right in the middle of the fucking day, you know, because I had a place to go. Shit. I guess, yeah. I mean, but that's the thing, is it shouldn't have to be that way, you know. But
no, it shouldn't. I had a really good discussion here. That was a week or two ago, with a guy, Zach Sargent. He's out of northern Colorado right now, but he's a Texan, cowboyed out in Arizona quite a bit, and now he's running some high risk calves up for a feedlot. And And then a gal I know from college, her and her husband are running cattle out in Nebraska Sandhills, and we talked about kind of that balance between the cowboy and the rancher, employee, employer, and like anybody that cowboys for a living, whether they're good or not, they're a pretty independent-minded type of person, and the biggest thing is respect. Like respect and a little bit of appreciation goes a long fucking way. Like we all know the pace sucks. We all know that the horses may not be great, and your days may last 20 hours. You don't fucking know. But we sign on for all that. But that being said, little appreciation goes a long fucking ways, because you're asking us to do a pretty goddamn hard job and not paying us a whole hell of a
Oh yeah,
lot.
and I've been around so many people too. Like I've been really fortunate, a lot of the people that I'm very good friends with, have worked with, they would never ask you to do something they wouldn't do themselves.
Yeah.
They set the pace for the work. You're like, holy God, and you're just like, wow. And you are just, it inspires you to work that much harder, and it's like, and you're learning, you're and you're helping create something. I don't know. I that's what I love about it. It's like, if the situation is the right situation, there's so much pride in what you're doing. There's just, I don't know, there's nothing like it. You're outside all day, your face is sunburn, windburn, you're cold, you're hot, whatever, but you're out in it together. I don't know. There's like, it's just the best thing in the world to me, I think,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of days, there's a lot of stuff I'd rather do, but I still, and I've had chances to do other things, but I've come back to, punching cows, and I don't know, I don't know, I like it, and it's just there's some freedom to it. But like you said, going back to that whole relationship, it's like I don't know, like that, the ride for the brand thing has been big in the cowboy community forever, and then you get to really thinking about it, and it's like, that was a rancher PR move, because any cowboy way back when, if they didn't like the outfit, they just fucking up and left. They'd ride for the brand as long as it was worth riding for, or as long as it got them to where they wanted to go, and then they'd split. So,
right.
and and so like, and then just the more I've been around some of these guys, that the older they get, and they've seen a little more, a few more miles than I have, and so there's sometimes where like, I ain't as cowboy as I think I am, but like when you find a good gig, sometimes it'll make you a little soft, but it is what it is.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, where I'm at now in San Luis Valley, I mean, this entire crew, or they've been like family to me for years, and it's funny how life has a way of sometimes, like I had some pretty hard rejections, like some big doors closed in front of me, and I was really bummed out, really depressed about it. I just was just too ornery to quit on my, whatever I thought my path was. So I just kept on going. And then just out of nowhere, timing is everything. Out of nowhere, it was just boom. Let's, hey, why don't you just come on? All right, cool. So here I am, and I'm up here. Everything's amazing. It's, truly awesome. And I'm just so thankful and so grateful. And that's the thing, is the people that you meet in those situations, or through cowboying, or and even some tattooers are nice, few and far between. But I'm even friends with a few of those guys. But it's like horse training, cowboy, any kind of like animal husbandry. I think it draws like a certain type of person, or personality, or at least a few similar type personalities. And some of those people I just really resonate. I love them. Some people I've met for a week, and I remember everything about the week. It just left a big impression on, and and that's huge. So I don't know. Yeah, like I said, it's your path. I don't know. That sounded like hippy dippy. I do have long hair, so but it's like, yeah, it's just. I mean, I was telling you, I was out and a year ago, and then things got better, and then the valley got peaks and valleys, got into a dark valley, and then boom, just out of nowhere, this opportunity opened up. Here I am, and I'm honestly every day I'm just like, holy shit, I'm just thrilled to be here, thrilled to wake up here, thrilled to go to work here, thrilled to laugh all
Yeah.
day, and laugh through the work, you know.
Yeah.
It's I love it, and so I will bust my fucking ass in that situation. I will do whatever it takes to pull my weight and more, and so I think that's just important, it's important to feel that, I guess, community or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm on the same page with you. There's certain people that you meet and you're just like, those are my people. You don't have to know them for very long, but you get a feeling and you're just like, yeah, those are my people. And, and you just, yeah, then you run through a wall for them. And, but like they they do the same for you. And that, like, I've got a lot of friends, but like people like that I've got a, pretty short list of just like those are my people, and and it's those are good ones to find, and when you can find, you find the right situation, it's something clicks, and it's just good.
Yeah, it's great. And it's literally, it's life changing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm just fortunate, and yeah, I'm living in the big stall, and it's it's cool. I'm super grateful. And I'm close enough to Taos where I can go on Saturdays, one day a week, tattoo. And I mean, Taos isn't like the hub of tattoo culture, but it gets the job done, I suppose.
Well, and I mean,
place has changed.
it's a pretty cool town too if you've never been there. So there's that too.
Yeah, it's got a lot of charm still. I mean, it's pretty much like a miniature Los Angeles at this point. But
I can imagine. I can imagine. But like,
yeah,
the old shit is New Mexico's cool. Like what did you grow up right there in northern New Mexico, or?
Well, I didn't. You broke up for a second. What was it?
So where did you grow up in New Mexico?
I didn't. No, I actually grew up down south, in Alabama, of all places.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I'm bona fide.
Nice. All right. So
in,
do you hate Forrest Gump like the other Alabama folk I know?
I don't really have an opinion about it, to be honest. I mean, that's the thing for me, is like, so you go places like Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, whatever, and everyone's like, "Hi, y'all," and all this. I'm like, I grew up there. I've never said y'all in my entire life. Like, I've never like, I've never once said it. And I remember eating at some restaurant in Austin, against my will, of course, but I was eating there. This waiter's like, "How do y'all like this place?" Dude, fucking just stop it. Kills me. And I never really, I mean, I have a weird voice. I'm fucking, but I never had like that kind of just like Alabama Southern drawl.
No,
why?
You talked about New Mexico, and so that's just kind of that's kind of what fits you more.
Yeah, my dad, he was big hacking and stuff, and he was a big hunter, so he was always over the west, the southwest, you name it. And he was much older. He was 50 when he had me, so back when he was younger, you could actually just kind of, I guess, do whatever the fuck you wanted, like you could.
My father-in-law, well, my dad too, but like, we grew up in southeast Colorado, southwest Kansas. But my father-in-law he was born in Montana, and then I grew up in Reno. But back before Reno was, Reno was like 50,000 people or something like that,
Right.
and then nothing but fucking desert. And so like he was a wild man. Like holy shit, I thought I did some stupid shit in high school, but my God, like not even close. I was a church boy compared to that guy. And
Wait, what?
yeah, like the laws weren't as strict back then.
Yeah, things seemed very very different back then. It was a different.
Yeah,
But
that's wild. So Alabama. So, what part of Alabama? I'm not that that makes any difference to me. I don't know enough about it, but
like the humid hot part with pine trees. No, it's I guess it's off I-10. It's like a little shithole town between Mobile and Montgomery.
oh, so you're way down south.
Just tiny little. Yeah. And
so I-10s,
up,
that's the one that goes like across the Pontchartrain, right?
Oh, I don't really know. I kind of black out every time I ever had to go through Louisiana and Mississippi. I don't know. I just kind of blocked it out. I just associate things.
But that's the main interstate going down there, like through Louisiana,
I think
Texas.
Yeah, 10 takes you to California, doesn't it? I think so.
I think so. Yeah. See, we went to Biloxi for my senior trip, and that was all based off of the Jack Ingram song "Down in Biloxi." We were dumb.
Walter he was a watercolor painter from Biloxi. I think maybe in the 20s, 30s. Pretty interesting guy. I remember that's one thing I learned in school. one of like the 5 things I remember from school.
That's funny.
But yeah, I grew up there. I wound up living kind of all over the place and always back and forth all through the Southwest. And I always wanted to make Montana work for me, and I would go up there and try to make it work, and it wouldn't work. And then years later, try again, and it wouldn't work. But yeah, like I said, some doors aren't supposed to be, they're just closed for a reason.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, they're not open for you. And you got to be like, okay, sure. Like I beat on long enough to prove that I wanted in, but it proved to me it didn't want me. And so now it's time to reroute and figure out what's going to work, So, yeah.
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 That's pretty cool. I don't mean to bring it back, but it was funny thinking back on we listened to that song down in Biloxi, and that was like we were dumb enough where it was like I like that song, and we were like deciding where we were gonna go for a senior trip, and we was like, how about Biloxi, Mississippi? And there was basically 4 of us that that bullied the rest of the 19-person class that to go down there, but it was cool as shit, like. Biloxi would have been way cooler if we were 21, but we got to party on Bourbon Street for a couple hours and went to a gator farm, and so like it all turned out pretty good. But it was just funny how fucking stupid you are when you're that young.
Still have also got by. I mean, I just have daydreams. I'm like, I think it's going to be amazing. I don't know. I put all this energy into it, and then it's not, and I'm devastated. I'm like,
yeah.
I thought that this was going to be like I remember the first time I went to California. I was like, well, certainly it's going to be like awesome and like I don't whatever. You're like Beverly Hills.
Pam Anderson's gonna show me her tits as soon as I get off the plane. Oh, dropped off. All right, we're back.
Watch it, man. Some shit while we were on. Go there and it's gonna be so cool, and it's nothing like you thought it was, and you're devastated.
Yeah.
Or I always freak out and drive drive around by myself. Thanksgiving, I would say, okay, I'll leave New Mexico, and I'll make a big circle, and I'll go all over, southwestern Colorado for the day, and I would go to like all the spots, and they were perfect, and it was a perfect day, and I shared it with fucking no one, just me, and so like some things are great, some things always, I don't know, like the I guess I didn't have like a real direction, but I've always we're having hell.
Yeah,
I'm having a tough time.
I'll kill my video too, see if that helps any.
Oh, a very nice picture of you in a Christmas sweater, Pop.
Thank you.
Very dapper. But yeah, it's like, so I've got, I have this focus and, whatever. And that's my goals. These are my goals. My goals are, I write my goals down in a notebook or a piece of paper, and I write them over and over and over and over. And they seem like they're not going to happen. And then you learn to be a little patient, and they start happening. You start meeting the right people, the right things start happening. It's great, and so I don't know. I think that not all daydreams end in tragedy. Sometimes the fantasy is shittier than the reality. Actually, sometimes the reality is way better.
Yeah.
But then again, sometimes it's the opposite. That's just how it is.
Yeah. No, for sure. It is. Yeah, but then sometimes those things that you're just really devastated by at the time, you look back on them, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, and you're just like, huh, that actually was kind of cool. Didn't realize it at the time, but like that was kind of cool.
Sure.
And I don't know. Life's funny. I
It
still
makes you tough sometimes.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like, I don't know, there's just many a times where like you get the shit kicked out of you working cows, and but that sticks with you, and then whenever that situation comes up again, you're just like, I ain't getting me this time. And I don't know, it's just funny how shit works, but life's funny, but I'm convinced we live in a simulation after the past like 5 or 6 years. The more shit happens, and just the more outrageous, like just from a sheer comedy point of view, like is
the meme mining is like the memes are unbelievable. I'm meme obsessed. My phone is like,
man,
5,000 screenshots of just the best memes. But
it's so
I
good.
don't know. I don't think we are living. I don't think we're living in a simulation. I think we're living under the control of a very, very, very small percent of people. And I was talking. I went on a very rare excursion actually last night. I never really hang out with anyone, but some gal asked me on a date, I guess, whatever you want to call it. So we were having this conversation. It didn't go well. It did not go well. They never did. She was more than glad to send me packing, but we did have this conversation, which I guess is kind of poignant. But we're talking about traditionalism, or the lack thereof, the lack of traditional values, and what's the effects of these things. So yeah, I mean, we're being controlled by a small select group of people that obviously have no morals, no traditional values, no moral compass, whatever you want to call it. And
or they do, and then they're just or their traditions are like not moral, and they're not, or they'll take one of our traditions and twist it. Like, so like being proud of the country turned into like being proud of the standing military, which we're not supposed to have. But at the same time, just like I love anybody who's willing to like serve, like that's a vital part of the country. But then that turns into like love for starting a bunch of wars that gain the average Joe like me and you absolutely nothing. Actually, cost us a ton of money, but
Oh yeah.
there's a select few people that get really really rich, and they can play off people like me and you, and even like the left wingers back in the day, um, who see through the shit, as opposed to the people who buy into all the patriotic bullshit. And I mean, I say that with, as what it is. Like, I'm very patriotic, but I don't buy into the pseudo patriotic bullshit that they lead everybody around the nose by. And yeah, so I think you're right. But also, like, as far like memes are very easy to make because you're just making fun of real life. But to write
Yeah, I
a
mean,
joke, to
they
write a
write
good
themselves.
joke, you've got to like be more absurd than the absurd, and like that takes a lot of imagination nowadays.
Oh
Like,
yeah, no, it's true.
yeah,
I
I
could.
mean, if you would have told me in 2008 when we had Barack Obama and John McCain running for president, like, remember how normal that felt?
Yeah.
And if you would have told me that Donald Trump was going to be president, followed by Joe Biden with dementia, I you could not have made. I mean, that joke wouldn't have landed back then.
No,
I
it's
mean,
yeah,
or
it's
it would have been a
unbelievable.
really good joke because it's so absurd that it was funny. And
But the thing
now it's
is
just
that,
like
but
it's
it's
just
rich.
real life, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you can't pay. I don't know. I pay too much attention to it. It makes me kind of nuts or
I know.
crazy here. But I mean, it's ritual humiliation. I'm so sick of people being like, "Dude, how stupid is this presidency? How stupid are these people?" They're not fucking stupid. It's called ritual humiliation. They're
Yeah.
humiliating you. They're literally doing this to make you fucking insane. When they gaslight you 5 times a day and tell you that what your eyes just saw didn't
Yeah.
really happen, what your ears just heard didn't really happen, that's called ritual humiliation. They're trying to make you go fucking insane. And they've succeeded. There are a lot of people that have lost their mind. I've lost a lot of, acquaintances, whatever, over it. They were just so fucking crazed about COVID or so crazed about this or that. And, or I'm like, hey, like, just this week, or was it last week? Like, all of a sudden, Disney is essentially outed as being one of the largest, groomers that,
Yeah.
in existence. And I'm like, who would have ever thought that? And then you think about that statement and you go, oh yeah, everyone would have fucking thought that. Everyone should have been thinking that years ago
Yeah.
because it's been going on for years. But you're so distracted by all this other stuff. Or, I mean, once you pull the curtain back on what's really happening in modern American or Western society, the things that are going on, it's fucking horrifying.
Oh,
I mean,
it's
absolutely
insane.
horrifying.
Yeah, like it's
So,
funny is like we're in the ag community, like they're like we're almost programmed to trust these big corporations. So like everybody buys their seed from Pioneer or Monsanto, and so that means GMOs are fine, and everybody says they're proven to be good. And I've said that many a times, but I've never really looked into like how proven that is.
well, so and
And
that's the thing. So the vax shot that was proven to be totally fine, right?
right,
The first, the second, the fourth, the 10th, the 20th, and now it's like every single day there's what 5, 6, 10 soccer players in Europe dropping dead from heart attacks and all kinds, like news
yeah,
anchors falling over myocarditis in children. It's horrible. So when people stop, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I have no answer for any of it. But yeah, I
I
mean,
don't
it's
either. It's
these
yeah,
giant
it's
corporate
wild.
oligarchs run everything.
And then then you go back and like you look up how Monsanto and the government both like try to play each other and throw each other under the bus for Agent Orange, who like not only if do like just the fact that our our soldiers got cancer from it is bad enough. But then you look into it and they're like, oh, this was already banned in the U.S. Or not approved because it was too dangerous. But when we wanted to go wipe out a jungle to kill a bunch of Vietnamese people so we could kill them better, then that Agent Orange became fine. So we sprayed it over there. But oh, by the way, no, like somebody's got to spray it. So that's a bunch of our kids that we drafted to go fight a war over there so that we could stop the spread of communism.
Right. But you know, but the thing is, like, all of history, it's all just, if you can't see it being rewritten now and understand that it's always been a lie. It's always been a lie. Every bit of it's been a lie. That's what blows my mind. I mean,
I know. It's just like once you start thinking into it and you dig in, and you're just like, oh, and a domino falls, and you're just like, holy fuck. Then you're just like, huh, well, you just got to play it as comedy now because otherwise it's too real.
Yeah. I mean, that you're 100% correct. It's like, I'll listen to, I'm not big into a lot of podcasts. I remember I listened to episodes randomly of various podcasts, and I remember you had done one with the hat maker Samson from Canada, and I remember he had gone down to those protests or whatever, and he was like recounting his experience, and I was like, I was just like, man, that's fucking awesome, but I was also like scared for that guy, I'm like, fuck God, like what if they come and get him, and I'm like, that's an insane thing to think about. Like, what if they come and get this guy who's peacefully, even if he wasn't peacefully, whatever, he's just cruising around saying, hey, like, this is completely tyrannical. It's the definition of tyranny and dictator like actions. And I'm like, this guy's they're gonna get him. I was like, I hope they don't. But I remember being all worried for him. And that's the society we live in. Like, you have to be conscious of what you say, but also, I guess, not give a fuck. Because I'll say what I feel about certain topics. I don't care about the repercussions. You have to be that way. But a lot of people can't. A lot of people are like, well, I'll go to jail, or I'll do this, or I'll, like, what if I lose my job, or this, that, and the other. And, it's like, they've kind of got you where they want you, and so you can't really discuss these very important topics, but I just thought that was a really cool thing that, he did, and everyone that was involved in that. And, but they're not, the government's not done though, they're just warming up. They're warming up for
man,
like round 2.
Yeah, you ain't shitting. And man, I followed that Canadian deal really, really closely because I've got guys like Samson and I won't say any last names, but you guys know who you are, and just because of that type of shit. And the point I'm making is there's a listener up there that he messaged me on Facebook, and and I was kind of drunk one night, and it was all over this COVID stuff, and he was worried about his kids having to get vaccinated, and this is kind of like where we become the arrogant Americans, and I was like, man, stop being a pussy and stand up for yourself. And then you see what they did to these people that stood up, and then I was like, whoa, fuck. If I was in his place now, I was like, I kind of get it now. Like, why, like, we call it being a pussy, but like, man, when they can just shut off everything, take every bit of your money, seize all of your assets, without any sort of repercussion, like.
But to think that can't happen here is foolish. It's going to happen here.
Yeah, I mean, that's right on our doorstep.
I remember. Yeah, it's already happened. Remember, what was it? God, I can't think of her name. She was like some sort of fringe independent journalist, Loomer was her last name,
Oh,
or
Laura
whatever.
Loomer.
Like, yeah, they like unpersoned her. I just remember reading about this stuff, and you're like, oh, it doesn't matter if you're in her, not her. The fact that they silenced this person over what? If what a person's doing is not truthful, then no one should worry about it.
Oh, dude, you
Because you're
should.
like, oh, that's just ridiculous.
Do you know who Owen Benjamin is?
Yeah, he's amazing.
Holy shit, dude! Like, cause I remember back when I was living in Kansas. So I've been out here just over 5 years. So like 5 years last month, I think. I've been out here in Nevada. But I remember back in my house in Syracuse, Kansas. Me and my wife were newlyweds, and we were watching some dumb sitcom on TBS, and Owen Benjamin was this goofy, like kind of retarded character, and like weirdly attracted to his mom character on this sitcom, and it was pretty damn funny. It was still like a cheesy kind of sitcom, but it was pretty funny. And then later on, like I heard him on a podcast or something, and then and I got to kind of following his stuff, and like I watched his comedy, and he was really, really funny. And then I was following him on Twitter. Like I listened to him on Joe Rogan, or no, like I listened to him quite a bit, and he finally like he ended up on Joe Rogan. I was like, well, this is gonna be a really good one. And I remember it was a weird episode. They like had Kurt Metzger, I think, was on with him, and I don't know. It was just kind of a weird episode. Like they were really kind of arguing back and forth, and then like you watch this guy, and he's just like he is awesome, but he is like off the deep end. But he went from like a very successful, like kind of on the brink of becoming a pretty big star in Hollywood, to now he's homesteading up in Idaho. And it is wild to see how that all turned around. Lost. Did we lose you? I think so. There, we're back.
Good Lord. But yeah, no, it's crazy. Like, I mean, if I don't know, it's just strange. It's strange to, like I follow a certain number of Instagram accounts, and I have to make sure that I don't overindulge in like, independent journalism or journalism in general. But independent journalism is so hard hitting, and to me, I'm pretty obsessed with that. Like, kind of like how you're obsessed, or you're really into podcasts. I'm really into like independent journalism.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I always I go to like your mainstream news sources to see what like the chatter's about, and then you go to from there you go to a different source to see what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, but it's just unbelievable, and so I don't know. I try to be aware, and I try to be knowledgeable, but honestly, I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen. Do I want to live in a city? Hell no. Do I want to live near a city? Hell no. But do I want to live in, say, like in the plaza in Taos around all these people that live there? No. Do I want to live? It's because these certain types of people have just dispersed and gone everywhere, and so they've made a lot of like otherwise interesting, nice places fairly intolerable for me.
I know it. It's wild.
Yeah, but it's where do you go? What do you do? I don't know. I just that's why I just submerge myself in work, and I work 7 days a week, and I just get through it, and That's just, that's how I do it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know what else. If you consider podcast, work, then yeah, I work 7 days a week, and
Oh yeah, having to listen to me talk is definitely work. Anyone listening to this right now, probably also working.
that's no, I'm enjoying the shit out of it. Uh, I I don't know. I just but I think that's a lot of what is missing in today's culture is social media is awesome for to an extent, but like when you like when you forget that the people on the other end of your of what you're throwing at them on social media, when you forget that there's another person on the end of the line, like then things turn real shitty. I mean, like Twitter turned real shitty real quick.
Yeah, I never
And
had Twitter or anything. I just had like Instagram, or that's what I have, and I've made friends on it, and that I've met them in person, and we're legitimate, awesome friends. I mean,
yeah,
it can be a great tool, but it can also really get in your head and make you feel really lesser than,
yeah,
or like what you're doing isn't important, And the thing is, what you're doing while you're on Instagram isn't important. You're wasting time. It's stealing your productivity. It's stealing, it's basically just like watching a million commercials. Your attention span's short. It's like bam, 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 all these different
yep,
images. This is for sale. That's for sale. This is cool. That's not. Check this out, or like these clips or whatever. And while many of them are inspiring, they can also be like really detrimental, So I think you just have to be careful what kind of content you absorb. Like David Goggins, you got to get David Goggins. You got to absorb that energy.
yeah, yeah. He'll
But
make you want to run through a wall.
Fuck yeah, and that's the thing. That's awesome,
Yeah.
But if you follow people that that are like, it's all glitz and glam and it's all, I mean, and their lives might be that way, and if so, that's fucking awesome. That's good for them. Mine isn't.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to be like look at ho-hum depression all day either. So you just have to be careful what you feed your brain. And like I said, I follow people on Instagram, and I met many of them in real life after the fact, and they're amazing. Like, we're like legitimate friends, talk all the time.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool, but you just gotta be. It's what is it that Prince said? It's like you gotta be on the internet sometimes, but don't let the internet be on you, or what. I don't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
It was fairly poignant. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not smart enough to remember Prince quotes, but
yeah, and then like you let shit go to your head, yeah, I don't know, then you end up slapping Chris Rock on at the Oscars, and you're just like, what the fuck was that all about? Just like,
I'll tell you what it's about. So supposedly, Oscars are funded by, or sponsored by Pfizer, right?
yeah.
Well, Will Smith's wife has baldness, alopecia. Well, guess what Pfizer has coming out pretty soon? Alopecia drug.
Fuck.
There it is, folks. There it is.
And all right, well, let's see. Just for the record, YouTube, this is a comedy show, and this is a comedy podcast. But like just for funny's sake, yeah, like tune back in a couple months when it comes true.
Right.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been.
See, now it makes a little more sense. But I think we can all agree, for all of its worth, that was over. The situation was supposedly over Jada Pinkett Smith. Either way, that's a dirty cunt right there. That is a dirty cunt right there. Uh-huh. Yep.
I mean,
yeah, bitches be
ladies are never beating down my door, but never have I been so desperate that I'd be like, oh, he's cool. I'll just hang out with this gal that just does me dirty all the time. Nah, better off alone.
Yeah, that's Yeah, that she's the outside of Pfizer. She's the villain, and
Yeah.
uh, Pfizer. That what a man.
I mean, if you want to get deeper into it, I mean, I'll say that also one of the, what is it, like 1,200, 1,500 side effects of said jab is alopecia. You can also verify that by doing a little research. So, it all ties in together. All of a sudden, 8-year-old kids are having heart attacks because that's normal. I mean, I don't know. It's
Well,
just terrifying.
I want to
But yeah,
see
TV's
who the
terrifying, and
founder of Pfizer was because um, have you read the book Operation Paperclip by Annie Jacobson?
no,
Oh, you
I,
should.
I never heard of such.
Oh, she's also she reads her own book on Audible. She's got a great reading voice, and it's all about how after World War II, it was a race between the the U.S., the Brits, and the Russians to scoop up all these Nazi scientists and doctors that were like at the top of the Third Reich. And
Oh yeah, many of them came to America and worked for
yeah,
pharmaceutical companies and all kinds of things.
yeah.
Yeah,
Werner von Braun, the first head of NASA, was also like the head of the Luftwaffe, I believe.
yeah, yeah. I don't know the exact, what he was the head of, if it is Luftwaffe or whatever. It could be, could not be, but I have definitely heard that. I don't,
Yeah. So
over the years.
she goes into in great detail, and like I said, if you're out and you're out of podcast, like get that one on Audible, and it's a fucking excellent listen. I haven't read it, but I've listened to it, and it's wild. But then you're like, they were so far ahead on their on their rockets and stuff. But then you see what the concentration camps really were, and it wasn't just the Jews, but like all the like the retarded kids or just any sort of deformed, like they got.
But it was German citizens also. It was
Yeah,
Lithuanians. It was
yeah, and they
it
got
was
turned into like their high pressure, like the G suits of the day, for their pilots. Like all the testing got done on those people. And those doctors and everybody came over, and so I wonder, 1849, two cousins who had immigrated to the United States from Ludwigsburg, Germany, in 1849. There probably can't be any sort of connection between Nazi Germany and the Pfizers. No way that's possible.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look at all this stuff, it's all it's all globalist. It's all Great Reset,
Yeah.
Klaus Schwab, Davos Group.
You know what I think really flew under the radar with this whole Ukraine-Russia thing?
Zelensky's dancing videos? No.
That yes, where he's playing the piano with his dick.
I haven't seen that. I just saw when he's in high heels dancing around.
I'll text you the link. It's because they talked about it on Drinking Bros, and so I'll try to find the YouTube because I think I think they put it up on the screen, but anyways, that's a close second. But I think the number one thing that has gone completely under the radar is the fact that because of this, the NATO countries had to step up, and Germany dumped $100 billion into their military. And last time Germany had a really strong military, it didn't go well for the rest of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's this whole deal. I don't know.
plenty of thoughts on it, but it takes all this stuff just takes forever to discuss. You know, I mean, you look at it's just so
Well, I'm
for
just
me,
saying,
I just think
look at it from starting at World War One. Germany got fucked really hard.
oh yeah,
And then World War II happens, it got split in half, and it got really fucked on the one half that went east. And then they got reunited, but it still was kind of fucked. Like there was like they didn't have any real power. And then all of a sudden they've been kind of like gaining some power. And then Russia does this shit, and now all of a sudden there's like boom, $100 billion we're putting into our military, and
but
shaping
it's
up like
all a
another world
distraction.
war.
Yeah, I mean, of course, but it's a distraction. I mean, what's happening in your own country? You got record number homelessness. They're, it's like, hey, cut your fucking kid's dick off, go to work all day, don't make any money because taxes, fuel, insurance, etc. is exorbitant. Oh, by the way, you'll never be able to afford a house at this point. Oh,
Yep.
also, while you're at work, like your girlfriend or wife's like, prostituting yourself online. I mean, what the fuck, I'm just saying, like everyone's like, oh, bro, like Ukraine's I'm like, fuck, who gives a fuck, dude? Like, look at your own
I'm
fucking
the same
country.
way. I'm just like, I hate to sound really callous, but I just don't give a fuck.
I mean, I've always been of the motto of other, certain problems are there for a reason. They're there to distract you.
Yeah.
And what's happening here is unbelievable, and it's damn near unbearable. And if people don't start focusing on the real shit, like, oh, this is happening over there, motherfucker, it just cost you $300 to put fuel in your truck. That's a pretty big deal. So to me, like,
and
that
none of that had anything to do with this
No.
Ukraine-Russia deal. That the
No,
Ukraine-Russia deal is a distraction for the fact that 80% of the currency that is in circulation right now was printed in the last 2 years.
Well, not to mention it's also just the simple thing of they want you to be so broken that you're like, well, I guess we'll just stop driving vehicles and we'll just, I mean, this is insane. They want to push this new Green Deal agenda. Everyone's like, oh yeah, like solar's great. That's it. What do you think solar panels are made of? Oil byproduct. What about wind turbines? Okay, they kill eagles. They kill thousands of birds, probably millions of birds. They cut off bird wings. It's like, so all these things.
Yeah, but they won't allow you to grow hemp to, which makes plastics that are biodegradable.
They have a very strict goal, and it's and the thing is, like, that's what, where it's like the Will Smith thing. Oh man, like, I can't believe that. I'm like, I forgot the Oscars even existed. I'm over here, like, trying to, figure out, like, what next? What are they going to do next? Like, should I start buying more canned food? I'm like, well, I don't know. I know what's going to happen. And that's the thing. It's just, people need to really focus on the goings on here in America. Look who's buying up all the farmland. Look what foreign entities are buying up ranches. Look what foreign entities are involved in Western culture, as far, like, not like Western civilization, but like, Western
American West.
Look who's trying to buy out water rights. Look who's dominating all these things. There's a war.
Have you listened to the episode with my dad about the water wars?
I haven't. No.
Oh man, yeah. I'm
gonna listen to that. That sort of stuff gets me going.
Yeah, and then I just republished it this past Monday. It was with Angus McIntosh, and he was a big private property rights guy when it came to like so-called public lands and grazing allotments, and how that is not a lease. You actually own that allotment, and it's too bad he passed. So that's the reason I put it back up. And I wanted to have him and my dad talk about like the grazing allotments and BLM type stuff, and then my dad with the groundwater rights. But didn't get to happen. But either way, like, yeah, that stuff is so important. And so, like, even when you look at like shit on a national scale, like, none of that matters if you don't have any fucking water. Like,
Right.
nothing else matters. Like, you're just like, well, do I die here or do I move? And
Sure.
then,
Well, it's the same thing as like, soon we're going to cut down on carbon emissions by getting rid of cattle. And it's like, okay, so everyone's going to just be vegan and vegetarian. Hardly. No, that can't happen, obviously.
uh-huh.
But, these are these crazy, outlandish ideas that are being pushed. And people, like, I mean, where I'm living now, I go to the supermarket and it is not highfalutin, and they've got like Beyond Burgers or whatever this like nasty Bill Gates slime sludge is, and it's just sitting there. And I'm like, not one person in this entire, I'd say 100, maybe 200-mile radius. Well, that's not true because I guess Taos is in the radius, but no one other than that would even consider eating that if they were starving to death. They're just like, what is this shit? And that's the thing. People aren't. You have to go back to ancestral diets. Real food means real nourishment. You want to talk about skin cancers? That's coming from seed oils. That's coming from all the oils, canola oils. Stop cooking with that shit. Stop eating stuff that has that shit in it. And and these are the things. There's so much stuff that they're doing to make you sick. You're being sick. You're being stressed at work. You're being drained of your livelihood, your accounts. Your great grandfather busted his ass for what now? And so if you're not willing to stand up for that or fight for that or fight for your own health or your own well-being, then it's like, then you can't be saved. So I mean, people have to wake up. They have to be like, okay, what is really going on? Take an hour, Google, like you said, war rights, Google who owns all this, who's buying up all the farmland, Google the side effects of high fructose corn syrup, all these things. It takes an hour. And you'll be so much more educated. And you'll be like, holy fuck, they're killing us. And they are, and they're distracting you with bullshit. And that's what blows my mind. I get all riled up about it. I can go on, but no one, it's neither here nor there.
Oh man. No, it's like when you dig into that even deeper, you're just like, beef exports were up like 80% from last year. And the price of beef is going up here. And the cattle rancher is going out of business, but like the dairies just keep pumping out milk, which is a subsidized product, and now they're getting more value than ever from their basically, which was a waste product, which is their steer calves, or anything from their terminal animals. Like now. And like you don't see any Holstein steer calves hardly anymore. You see a bunch of crossbred cattle, which feed out, like we just talked about it with Corb at Wall, and how and how now, like, say they get this deal passed through, and now I'm gonna piss a bunch of people off, and now I'm against this bill that's going across just now because it kind of hits me. But like all these. They'll just if they set a minimum mandate of how much negotiated cattle they have to have, well, they're only gonna buy that amount, and it'll raise the prices up for a little while, but then they can just keep pumping out more and more of these crossbred cattle. Because that just gives the dairymen more and more incentive to grow their deal, to pump out more and more milk, and they just keep exporting over to India and China and on all that shit, and they don't give a shit what if the price of beef is too high here. They'll just keep exporting it.
Oh, that's I mean, I think the big, obviously, like anyone that listens to this is probably in the ag or aware of it, but it's like there's just so many people that aren't aware of that. Even people that live rurally or in the city, you have to start supporting your local rancher, your local your local little old lady that sells, eggs, things like that. Like once a week, go grab some. Once a month, go grab beef from your local, like whatever. But it's like
Yep.
just cut out the middleman, And that's the thing is, people, it's so expensive to do that or whatever. And I'm like, no, it's expensive not to, because you're not, like you're putting money back in your community, you're supporting your community, you're building a relationship within your community, and you're giving people that are literally feeding you your money instead of giving it away to special interest groups or whatever that have no interest in benefiting you or the producer of the product. But that's the thing. It's like, I have so many friends or, acquaintances, I guess you could say. I know a lot of people who are very disconnected from where their food comes from, and I guess that's from like tattooing, like people that live in like LA, whatever. And they don't really think about it. But you have to start thinking about it, because according to MSM, there's going to be food shortages and there's going to be all kind of problems. So if you don't understand, where to get it, how it's made, how it's grown, how it's taken care of, the blood, sweat, and tears that go into, producing cattle or whatever, or, whatever the fuck, these people are interested in, then, you just don't have respect for it. And I think you have to have respect for the people that are feeding you, It's like that's a minimum, I mean,
well, and they say there's gonna be food shortages. I mean, how many times have you went to a restaurant and seen like the wings are off the menu because they
I will
don't
fucking leave if there's no wings. I'm just kidding.
I know.
I never eat out. I eat out like maybe once a year. I'm like, I should have just stayed home.
Yeah.
I never eat out.
Well,
but yes, if I wanted
just
wings and I drove to get them, I would be furious. I'd say, where are these fucking wings at?
Yeah, well, just the Mexican restaurant here in town. I say town, or like it's. I live in town, but like that's the really cool thing about this valley is it's. It's awful. People suck here. Don't move here. But it's everything, like the smallest you can get is 2 acres. That's the smallest parcel. Unless you jump through a bunch of hoops because it's zoned just for agriculture. So like you live in town, but everybody basically lives on 5 acres. So like so it's nice.
That is cool.
But so when I say in town, this little the Mexican restaurant here in town, like it's been probably a month since they've had carne asada on the menu. Like,
that's brutal.
Because there's no beef, and like,
go to the restaurant.
I know. I was like, I got to go to El Pastor, which is great. I mean, I fucking love El Pastor, but I'm a beef guy, and I'm just like, how dumb is it that she's out of beef when we have a feedlot right here?
Yeah, but that's like the same thing as you need a part for your truck. Well, guess what? Your truck might be broken down for 2 weeks now because they can't get it. And it's like, well, it's because it ships from across the sea. Why can't it just be made here? I don't understand it. Like, at what point is that okay to say, we don't need to produce anything. We'll just import it all. We'll just import everything. And what's happening is this is the result of globalization. This is what happens. However, no one's doing anything about it. No one's saying, well, this is bullshit. We're gonna figure this out and start producing said product, or we're gonna do, there's no beef in the valley for sale to us, even though we are growing it or whatever. Like your situation is. Someone's got to say, hey, wait a minute, this is insane. Let's fix this right now. Like I can fix this in 5 minutes. Hold on. And I think that's just what it has to be. It's people just stepping up, like you just got to, I think that's the big takeaway.
We got to decentralize.
Yeah. You got to decentralize. You got to step up, and you got to, what can you do to help out yourself and your community? If you like your community, if you don't like your community, fuck them. But
exactly. Take care of yours, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or move to where there's a better community. Yeah. But that's the thing is, I left house last night. I drove over there. as I before mentioned. But on the way back, it was late at night. There are people just walking down the fucking Mesa Road, pitch black. And I'm running pretty fast because I'm trying to get back, and they're hitchhiking. They're just like all night long, just like weird fucking. I'm just like, what is going on out here? This is insane.
It's
I don't know.
Grapes of Wrath, dude.
It truly, I don't know. It's like Mad
Max
meets Grapes of Wrath. And
well,
Bison Men.
God damn it, dude! I feel like you're in my head because I just the other day I talked about it was I was comparing what's going on in Ukraine with the Irish War of Independence and how Mark Twain, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes.
Yes.
And it's just like, yeah, it's the Grapes of Wrath, like you said, but like meets Mad Max, but also like meets some sort of like sci-fi, like futuristic sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean, I'm afraid we're gonna live in past, present, and future all at once. That's a
like
lot.
We're
That's
living in Star Wars. We're literally living in Star Wars.
I've never seen Star Wars, but I like isn't Yoda part of Star Wars?
Yeah. Well, like
he's okay.
It's like, well, there's the desert planet, and then there's like spaceships, and then there's like a jungle planet, and yeah, it's weird. And then yeah, you got a bunch of aliens, and they all look weird. I mean, you look at these these fucking people that are pissed off about the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida. They're all like 300 pounds with like 6 rings in their nose and purple hair. And
more importantly, pedophile addiction.
That too.
Pedophile. It's like that's the takeaway. It's like if you feel like you need to talk to a fucking 3rd grader about sex, you've got a problem.
Yeah. Like either way, even if you're not a pedophile, you're Mr. Garrison from South Park.
Yeah, it's unacceptable. But the thing is, they keep talking about it becomes acceptable to some people, and it's not acceptable. Or hiding things from your parents, like oh, don't tell your parents, like school. This is insane. They're indoctrinating your kids to do all these crazy things. I mean, this is nuts. If you can't buy a pack of smokes and an AR at 7 years old, you probably shouldn't get your dick cut off either. I don't know.
Right.
Like, this is insane. I mean, like, it's like you can't pick and choose. If the kid can get his fucking pito cut off at 8 years old and get himself a set of knockers, well, then he ought to be able to drive. He ought to be able to buy an AR. He ought to be able to do whatever the fuck he wants to do.
So my son, who is 5, the other day told me, and my son's a very bright kid. Like like I said before, like the whole little spectrum thing. Like he's very sharp. But he told me he wanted to be a feathered Indian, but not just any feathered Indian. He was going to be the last feathered Indian.
Very specific.
Yeah, like I said, the whole autism thing, very very specific. And then shortly after that, a couple days later, he also told me he wanted to be an octopus. So, like, if we're gonna go lopping off dicks, like, you can't do, like, you cannot be a trans octopus because you lop your dick off, you are 1 tentacle short already. Yeah, and and I'm pretty sure my insurance plan is not gonna cover all 8 tentacles. Like they're planning on you having a dick, and that's counting as 1 tentacle.
That's correct. But I mean, not discounting. There are people that identify as whatever the fuck. I don't give a shit. That's fine. I don't care. If you like to do, that's great. As long as it makes you happy. As long as you're not hurting anyone else. But to just shove yourself down someone's fucking throat, like I like flannel. I'm flannel man. I just wear flannel. It's like, who gives a fuck, dude? Like, no one gives a shit about you. You're not important, So, it's like, whatever. Like, little kids have imaginations. They want to be all kinds of things. I don't think it's an appropriate thing. But yes, you're right. These people, like the grooming deal, this fucking, how MSM presents all these these fake narratives like, oh, like it's the say gay bill. I haven't read it, but I seriously doubt that it says anything about. I'm pretty certain it just covers you're not supposed to talk to children about sex before this age.
Exactly.
Period.
It's like, hey,
Fine.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
what's
Hey,
wrong with that?
Helga, just teach math, please. Please
Right.
teach math, and then afterwards, teach teach English.
Well,
And then
schools are
after that,
indoctrination camps anyway. I mean,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
the
We
thing.
homeschool, so
Right. Well, but that's amazing. Everyone should. Everyone should. It's possible because people have to go to work. But I'm just like, holy fuck! Like, your school is basically set up to just be like it's a giant prison. It's an indoctrination camp. So I don't see why all of a sudden, oh fuck, they're doing this to the kids. They've been doing this to kids since day one. It's brainwashing your kids. You go to work and slave away, and they teach your kids what they want them to think and know and not know and believe and not believe.
I heard the other day. I have this is completely unverified, but I heard it on a podcast that back in the day, like the early 1900s, when public education really kind of got ramped up here in the U.S., the bells for in between classes was like the union bell, like at the factory, because they're teaching.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because they're teaching a bunch of factory workers, and at the time that wasn't even like I don't even know if it was a sinister plot. It was just like, hey, we need more factory workers.
It was, of course, a sinister plot. All of it is. And so is like Instagram with like they're only like 30 seconds. Your attention span can only be for 30 seconds, so they manipulate you easier. Human beings aren't supposed to live in communities larger than 150 people that are like-minded. The same. Yeah, you're supposed to have the same. All these things are important. And then after post-industrial revolution, you had people that. You're living in big cities, you're suicide rates skyrocket, rape skyrockets, masturbation addiction skyrocket, all these crazy neuroses and awful things start to skyrocket because people were living in an unnatural state. And now no one grows food, no one knows how to do anything, and you live on your computer basically, or the metaverse, whatever the fuck that is.
Agenda 21.
And yeah. Great Reset. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, well, the Great Reset definitely never happened. Definitely wasn't a book by whatever the fuck's his name was. Klaus Schwab. Yeah, that definitely didn't happen ever.
Made up.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you have to start embracing traditionalism, whatever that might be to you. And you have to reject modernity, modern.
Yeah.
I think that's the correct word, modernity.
Yeah.
But you have to decide. You have to start rejecting it. You homeschool your kid. That's terrific. It's just, I don't know. It's just too much. And the less I'm around cities or a lot of people, I have truly no desire. I was living in Weatherford and commuting to Dallas for work here and there, and it would kill me. I mean, Weatherford was bad enough, but having to go to Dallas was just over fucking whelming. I mean, unbelievable. But years ago, I'd have been like, it sucks, whatever, unfazed, But I think I'm just so on edge. I'm like something. These big cities at any moment are going to start collapsing. I just start losing my mind, So
it's
I'm
crazy. I feel the same way. Like I plan on staying out of all cities for a little while, as much as I can. Like Reno's not a big city. It's nothing compared to like Dallas or Denver, like that, let alone LA, Vegas, same way. Fuck that. I ain't going anywhere close. Like Reno, I'll stay in Denver just long enough to get through for the most part. But outside of that, I want a lot of room between me and a big giant group of people.
Yeah, same. But I used to not really feel that way. You know, I mean, it didn't affect me as much, but I just think with what's going on in society and just the way things are, I just feel like a lot. So,
Yeah. Well, and then there's people like us that yeah, like you also you kind of like to drift, and drifting it takes a little bit of money, especially nowadays when when fuel's $6 a gallon. So drifters, if they can't afford to drift, they drift to somewhere where they can make a little bit of money until they can drift again, and that just draws people into the city and more people away from where your food's grown, and yeah, just all about centralization and power and was so. I've been thinking about forming my own religion. Hear me out here. Um, and not that I have any answers. It's more than anything. Like I want to be a televangelist, but I don't want to fuck anybody over. I'm not. I've also been watching the Righteous Gemstone, so like it's kind of factored into my thinking here. Um, so, uh, anyhow, like religions are tax exempt. Joel Osteen and Ali Sheikh Muhammad. Neither one of them pay taxes.
right.
And the more I look at like the Somalian Muslim community up in Minnesota, and you like Ilhan Omar, she is nothing but a gangster. All those Somali refugees, and I can speak with a little bit of wherewithal on this because I spent 6 years in Southwest Kansas. Tyson has a huge processing plant there, slaughterhouse there in Holcomb, Kansas. I used to work in a wing off of that packing plant, but all these Somali refugees are brought over so they can sell halal, or they can butcher halal beef, and most of these people, I remember, like Somalia's been in a civil war since like Black Hawk Down, which we started.
Yes.
And but like these are just people trying to get out of a 20-year civil war. They also happen to be devout Muslim, and they don't speak English. And so it's just like any immigrant community. Think of Gangs of New York with the Irish. You go to the boss. Ilhan Omar is the boss, and now she's in fucking Congress. And I don't think it has anything to do with Somali American relations. It has to do with Ilhan Omar getting paid because she can provide those Somali immigrants to Tyson and Cargill and whoever else for halal beef, pork, well, not pork, but chicken.
This is all news to me. I have no idea about any of this. I mean, that's pretty fascinating. But
I just came up with that on the spot. So,
okay.
But you do some research on that. I think most of that checks out.
Fair enough.
I bet you Ilhan Omar is going to be worth some money here before, especially if she continues to get reelected. Man, she's gonna be the Somali Nancy Pelosi.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. All these elected officials, they're just so filthy rich, and they
start thinking of them as mob families,
Yeah,
start thinking of them, and instead of thinking of them as governments, think of them as like Tony Soprano and Carmine and all those. Yeah.
also truly the finest series of shows, Sopranos.
I haven't finished it yet. We're on season 5. I know, no spoilers. 20 fucking years later, but
It
it's
still holds up.
so it holds up. It holds
So-
up. Like I'd never started watching it till about, I don't know, 3 months ago or something like that. But it fucking holds up, man. It is
Incredible.
so good, so good. But yeah, like the more you start thinking of governments as crime families, and it makes a lot fucking more sense.
Oh yeah, it's just terrifying though. And like I said before,
Oh yeah,
what we're living in is it's just absolutely terrifying and overwhelming. But I try to just kind of I stay informed, like very informed, but I also do my own thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, and yeah, they're the biggest thing that keeps people like kind of under lock and key is they don't think of our government as a crime family. They'll think of the rest of the world as a crime family, but
Oh,
not
just
ours.
yeah, like they're like the atrocities done overseas. I'm like, are you unfamiliar with the atrocities that we've done to countless countries?
Yeah, I mean, just the most publicized one was like, I don't know, 6-8 months ago, when during the Afghanistan withdrawal, and we drone bombed an aid worker and his entire fucking family and said it was ISIS.
Or just dropping bombs on Syria for what?
Yeah,
I mean, that's-
or supplying the bombs that they're dropping on Yemen, basically a genocide over there. But yeah, hey,
it's unbelievable.
Orange Man bad, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Oh, my
wild.
God.
What a world we live in. Yeah. So, uh, what's your favorite type of horse? Like what, like personality wise?
Oh, geez, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I can't answer that. I mean, I've ridden so many with so many different personalities.
Yeah.
I just like a horse that's got a lot of try,
Yeah.
and and just wants to listen, wants to doesn't want to guess what's next. Just kind of is like, all right, what is next? We're in tune. This is what's next. I don't like being like, holy shit, that's not what's next.
Yeah.
Like, don't be guessing.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't really. I can't answer that very well.
Well, I like a lot of try. I like that's but that comes with some baggage sometimes. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, but if they're gonna try, I like them. I'll stick with them. When they quit trying, or when they just never quit fighting, then like that's when I'm done. Like,
Yeah, they've got to be able to take a joke too. Every
Yeah.
once in a while. Every once in a
Yeah.
while, they need to be able to take it.
yeah, exactly. Like I need to be able to stick you in the shoulder every now and then, just for fun, and you take it well.
Yeah, I've got a horse I've had for a minute, and he's a pretty good. He's not like top dog or nothing, but he's pretty good. We get along pretty good. We've seen some stuff together and done stuff together, and we just keep on trucking. So he's a pretty good old fella. I'll probably never get rid of him.
Yeah. Well, they're in your part of the world. Is that are you tie hard guy, or are you slick horn, or are you dallying on rubber?
Well, depends. I never tie hard, but I would definitely say more times than not, slick horn.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that's you're kind
It
of
depends on what style you've got. But around here, you've got a lot of guys that are. I really don't know too many people in general outside of Texas that tie hard.
yeah. That's eastern New Mexico a little bit, but I think maybe some down in Arizona, but yeah, it's more of a Texas Oklahoma thing.
Yeah, Texas is real serious about it. Like,
Yeah, they get all butthurt about it.
they're pretty tough about it.
Yeah. I will say that you don't see a whole lot of them missing their fingers, but also you never hear them. You never hear them shut the fuck up about it either.
With all their fingers pointing in. No,
Yeah.
no, I don't know. I've never done it. I just never done it. I don't know what I'm missing, I guess. Oh, lost you there.
All right.
It was breaking for a while, and so it was like delayed. So my answers were a little delayed, and then I just lost you.
No, it's all right. No, it's funny how those rivalries start up with the puncher buckaroo deal. I really don't care either way, as long as the guy can get a job done.
Yeah, I'm not cowboy enough to care about either one. I'm just thankful I get to ride around on some.
Not cowboy enough to care. Somebody should write a song.
Not cowboy enough to care. It's true. I'm just thankful I get to fucking ride around on them, see some amazing country with some amazing people, have some good laughs, and that's, to me, that's all I give a shit about. I don't care.
Fuck yeah.
About all that stuff. I'm fascinated by every aspect of it. So there's no right or wrong, left or right, up and down to me. I'm just thankful and grateful. I mean, truly, I just am like, I can't believe I get to do this. This is awesome.
Hell yeah, dude. I kind of feel the same way. I don't get to see as much cool country as you do. I see the same pins every day, but I don't know. I look around and there's a lot worse things to be done, and I don't hate going to work, and that's one thing. I've never stuck around at a job that I hated.
Yeah, me either. I definitely have never. That's for sure.
Yeah, the day where I start dreading going into work is the day I update my resume, and I mean, there's days where I dread working, but it has nothing to do with the outfit. It's usually about the weather or whatever the chore is for the day. But it has nothing to do with, with the job itself. But when every day becomes a chore, I'm out.
Yeah, and certain things can do that, but you have to just adjust, I just try to adjust. It's like I couldn't tattoo 7 days a week. I'd go nuts. So I have to adjust. I can tattoo X amount of days a week, do a great job, have a great time.
Yep.
Appreciate it. And that's it. So it's like you just gotta know what's good for you, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
No,
I think
like
you're right.
I said, I was just saying, I mean, just being able to do it, being able to, I mean, hell, if you had a choice between never riding a horse or just only be able to ride it in a little ass pen or something, I mean, it'd be hard to never ride it. You'd be like, well, that little pen sucks, or that's, it's a little whatever, little round pen that I have to ride in. It's the only spot I can go. I don't know. It'd be heartbreaking not to be able to ride. It's just, I don't know. That's something for your attitude. That's something for your mind. That's something for every aspect of you. And it's just,
the good thing is, like, you stay in the pens very long and your horses get sour too. But the good thing where I'm at is I got about 100,000 acres of desert right outside the front gates. So horse gets an attitude, I get an attitude. We can go stretch out.
Sure.
Yeah, there ain't nothing better for a horse or a man is just miles.
No, it's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always sometimes when I'm going like on long desert drives or whatever, you'll kind of like daydream looking out the window and you're like, God, what if you were just riding across this right now? Like what if what if? And that's where my brain goes. I'm always, what if? I don't know.
Yeah, I get to doing that too, and then it's like, oh shit, that cow turned back. Fuck. Oh shit. Well, Bailey, it's getting kind of getting late your time, but man, this is fun. Let's do it again sometime, huh?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Hopefully it's, somewhat entertaining and not the most boring one you've done.
No, man, I enjoyed the shit out of it. So it's no, we should do it again for sure. But tell everybody where they can find you if you want them to find you. If not, well, we'll just peace out.
I just got a little Instagram. It's just Bailey H. Robinson. You can send me hate DMs or whatever if you want,
Yeah.
or love letters. Either way,
if you get any dick pics from this one, we'll do a Patreon episode and do it and just critique.
Yeah, you could do that. Sure. Please no dicks playing piano.
Yeah. No Zelenskys. Don't go full Zelensky.
Yeah, don't pull. But yeah, thanks for having me. It was great. That's great chatting, and yeah, if anyone, thanks for listening to this. If anyone listens to it, and sorry if it was boring.
Yeah, no, man, it was fun. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Rise up in the morning beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. We'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right.